recording everything, man. You don't get to just pull me out like that.
Sir, lower the phone. Step over the sidewalk right now.
I know my rights. I'm not moving until you tell me what I did.
You're impeding traffic and you refuse to stay in the vehicle. Get to the curb.
It's raining, man. You're tripping for no reason.
Hands on the hood, now.
What, for holding a phone?
Sir, let go. You're being detained. Don't fight it.
The rain hadn't started yet, but the sky already looked guilty. Red and blue lights flickered against the wet asphalt as an officer approached a parked sedan on the edge of town. Inside, a man sat still, hands visible, phone recording. His voice was calm, almost too calm. "Am I being detained?" he asked. The question hung in the air, sharp, rehearsed, deliberate. The officer hesitated, glancing at his body cam as if it might answer for him. What happened next wasn't loud. It wasn't violent. But it changed the entire tone of the stop. The footage would later raise questions not about what was said, but about what was silently done. The wind moved through the trees like it had secrets to share. It was a quiet evening on County Road 14, a stretch of pavement few people used after dark. The dashcam clock read 8:47 p.m. when Officer Daniels pulled behind the silver sedan. The car's taillight was cracked, nothing major, something that usually ended in a warning. But that night, nothing went as usual. He stepped out of his cruiser, radio clipped to his shoulder, shoes pressing against damp gravel. The sound of the engine ticking down was the only rhythm. He adjusted his vest, glanced once at the recording light on his body cam, then approached the driver's window. The man inside rolled it halfway down. He looked mid-30s, calm, eyes steady. A faint smell of coffee drifted out from the car. "Evening," Daniel said, voice measured. "License and registration, please." The driver didn't move right away. Instead, he held up his phone, camera lens aimed at the officer. "Am I being detained?" The words landed clean, practiced. Daniels had heard that phrase 100 times before, usually from someone who'd spent too many nights watching traffic stop videos online. But something about the man's tone felt different. It wasn't defensive. It was deliberate. "You're not being detained," Daniels replied. "This is a traffic stop. Your taillight's out." The man nodded slowly, eyes never leaving the officer's. "So, I'm free to go?" Daniels hesitated. His training told him to maintain control, to keep the encounter structured. "Not until I verify your license and registration." A pause stretched between them. The driver reached into the glove box, slowly, and produced his paperwork. Daniels took it, stepping back toward his cruiser. His body cam captured the small details. The driver's steady breathing, the faint tap of his thumb on the steering wheel, the rhythmic blink of hazard lights cutting through the dark. Inside the patrol car, Daniels ran the man's name. No warrants, no priors, clean. It should have been over. A simple warning, a routine end. But as Daniels prepared to return the documents, a voice came through his radio. "Unit 14, confirm status on that 1038? "Routine," he replied. "No issues. Copy that. Be advised, subject matches partial description from earlier call. Possible vehicle involved in suspicious activity near the gas station on 9th. Daniels froze. The report was vague. Wrong color, wrong make, but it was enough to change how the situation looked on paper. He exhaled slowly, then stepped out again. The driver's eyes followed him in the side mirror. "Sir," Daniels said, tone slightly firmer, "would you mind stepping out of the vehicle for a quick conversation?" The man's head tilted. "Am I being detained?" The same question, the same calm. Daniels shifted his stance. "At this point, you're not under arrest. I just need to verify some details." The driver smiled faintly, an expression that didn't match the tension. "Then I'll stay in my car." Daniels felt the shift. Control was slipping. Every word now mattered. He tapped his radio again, calling for backup, voice even, but eyes alert. 2 minutes later, headlights appeared in the distance, another patrol unit. The silence between them thickened until the second officer arrived. Sergeant Rivera stepped out, older, quieter. She approached Daniels first, speaking low enough the mic barely caught it. "What's the issue?" "He's recording, refusing to exit." "Says he's not detained." Rivera nodded once. "Let me talk to him." She walked up to the driver's window. The man lowered it another inch. "Good evening, sir. I'm Sergeant Rivera. Mind telling me where you're headed tonight? He looked at her, then the camera on her chest. I'm not answering questions. Am I being detained? Rivera didn't flinch. Right now, we're just verifying a possible match to an earlier report. Am I being detained? He repeated. Rivera exhaled slowly. You're not free to leave until we clear that up. The moment the words left her mouth, the driver hit record again on his phone. New clip. Fresh timestamp. Daniels felt his stomach drop. The exchange was technically correct, but the phrasing would look bad later. It implied detention without cause. Minutes passed. The rain began to fall, soft at first, then steadier. Rivera returned to the patrol car, radioed dispatch to confirm the earlier report. The response came quick, negative. Vehicle in question was a dark blue pickup. Not a sedan, Rivera nodded, jaw tightening. Copy. Daniels knew what that meant. The stop was now officially unnecessary. But as he turned back toward the sedan, something caught his attention. The driver had stepped out quietly, without instruction. He stood next to the car, phone still recording. Please step back into your vehicle, Daniels said, hand resting near his belt. The man didn't move. His tone remained calm, but his eyes sharpened. You said I wasn't being detained, so I'm leaving. Don't move, Daniels said, raising his palm. Rivera joined him, voice lower. Sir, we're clearing you, but stay put until we confirm everything on record. The driver's phone camera tilted slightly toward her badge. You already did. I heard dispatch. The air thickened again. The rain hissed on asphalt. Then something small but crucial happened, the kind of detail that seems minor until you replay it frame by frame. Rivera's hand motioned for calm, but her body cam caught the reflection of Daniel's movement. A subtle reach, not a threat, but a reflex. The driver stepped back, interpreting it as something else. The footage later showed nothing dramatic. No aggression, no raised voices. Yet the timing was enough to trigger confusion. The man turned his camera toward Daniels and said, This is what they do when you ask the right question. Rivera quickly stepped between them. Nobody's doing anything to you. Let's end this the right way. But by then, the narrative had shifted. The driver's phone captured one version of events. The body cams, another. After another 2 minutes, Rivera handed back the man's license. You're free to go, sir. Drive safe. He nodded once, then looked straight into Daniel's lens. I always do. He got back into his car, closed the door, and drove away. The rain fell harder. Rivera turned toward Daniels. End recording. Daniels hesitated before pressing the button. The screen blinked, then went black. Neither of them spoke for several seconds. Finally, Rivera broke the silence. You handled it fine. Daniels didn't answer. He was staring at the spot where the car had been, wondering how something so procedural could feel so tense. He replayed the last 10 minutes in his head. The phrasing, the silence, the timing of that one motion. The line between control and escalation had felt thinner than ever. Later, at the station, Daniels filed his report. It was clean, factual, short. Traffic stop concluded without incident. But when internal review requested the footage, the questions began. The man had already uploaded his recording online, trimmed, captioned, and titled, He said, Am I being detained? Then watch what the officer did. By morning, it had over 100,000 views. Comments flooded in, each interpreting the moment differently. Some called it restraint, others overreach. The truth was buried in seconds of silence. Rivera stood at her desk, scrolling through the footage frame by frame. You didn't do anything wrong, she said quietly. But sometimes that's not enough. Daniels nodded, tired. It never is when a camera blinks red. She looked at him, then at the paused frame of the man stepping back, rain streaking across the lens. He knew what to ask, she murmured, and he knew when to ask it. Outside, the rain had stopped. The world moved on, traffic rolling through wet streets, unaware of how easily routine can shift into scrutiny. The footage sat in evidence storage, untouched but waiting, and somewhere out there, the man from the sedan was already recording again. By sunrise, Daniel's name wasn't just in reports, it was in hashtags. The video, 2 minutes and 16 seconds long, had left the department before anyone realized it was gone. What began as a clipped upload on a small channel was now looping across feeds, screens, and headlines. Every refresh felt like a pulse. Numbers climbing, comments doubling, narratives rewriting. The footage had escaped control. Inside the station's break room, Daniel sat with a paper cup of coffee, watching the television in silence. His own face stared back at him from a paused frame. Rain on his uniform. Hesitation frozen mid-breath. A caption scrolled beneath. Officer confronts innocent driver after he asks legal question. Nobody spoke. The hum of the coffee machine filled the room like background noise to judgment. Rivera entered, phone in hand, scrolling through chaos. They cut half the stop, she said quietly. No dispatch call, no clearance, just the stare down. Daniels didn't look up. That's what plays better. He wasn't angry, not yet. He was drained. The kind of fatigue that comes from realizing truth now had an upload button. Rivera sat across from him. Internal Affairs opened a review. Not an investigation, yet, but they'll want your footage and logs. So they'll see everything, he said. They'll see what the lens saw, she corrected. Not what it felt like. Before she could say more, Hensley, the department's public information officer, leaned into the doorway. Briefing room. 10 minutes, Daniels followed, footsteps heavy, pulse calm but deliberate. But that morning, a new notification would change everything again. In the briefing room, screens glowed with looping clips. Muted, captioned, replayed. Analytics pulsed in the corner like a heartbeat. Hensley gestured toward the display. We can't contain it. It's viral across 5 states. Headlines are picking it up. Captain Laird sat at the end of the table, posture still, voice low. Walk us through it, Daniels. Everything. He did. Clean, steady, no drama. His tone stayed procedural, but his eyes told fatigue. When he finished, Laird nodded. You didn't detain him. No, sir. Did you order him out? Requested. He refused. Reach for your weapon? No, then it's lawful. But it doesn't look that way on mute. On screen, the clip replayed. His hand near his belt. A pause. A blink. Slow motion turned reflex into motive. Hensley muttered, We push the full footage to media with context, but the short version moves faster. Daniel stared at himself on screen. Cameras didn't lie, but they didn't forgive either. Do I talk to the press? Laird's reply was curt. No. Silence protects you. But silence, Daniel's thought, also feeds them. By morning, Daniel's face wasn't in the system. It was in thumbnails. He drove home under gray skies, every stoplight flashing back blue in his mirrors. He parked, phone buzzing with notifications, and saw his own name trending beside words like accountability and power. He clicked one upload, slowed footage, dramatic music, red circles around his movement. The title read, Officer Reaches, Then Changes His Mind. Not true, but it didn't matter. Truth wasn't what spread. He set his badge on the counter and stood in silence. Somewhere beyond the window, city noise hummed. Normal life moving forward. But his didn't. He opened his laptop, hovered over his own bodycam file, and hit play. For once, not to defend himself, but to understand what everyone else had seen. He watched the hesitation, the reflection in the window, the split second between calm and caution. That pause had gone viral. Across town, the other camera, the one that started it all, was still recording. Eli Turner sat in his small apartment, laptop open, comments flooding in. He'd gained 20,000 subscribers overnight. His inbox filled with interview requests. He didn't smile. Viral fame wasn't victory. It was fuel. He scrolled through his raw footage. Hours of rain, dialogue, stillness. Rivera's measured voice. Daniel's restraint. He hadn't posted those parts. They didn't trend. His cursor hovered over the uncut file. He considered uploading it. Then closed the lid instead. he knew how the internet worked. Truth was valuable, but timing was priceless. On his desk, his phone buzzed again. Another message, another lead. Turner looked out the window and whispered, "Keep the lens steady." Back at the department, Daniels returned to work. The chatter had faded, replaced by routine calls. But the silence had changed. Every glance from a fellow officer carried quiet sympathy, or quiet judgment. When his name echoed across the hall, it wasn't from dispatch, it was from internal affairs. In the interview room, a single camera watched. Agent Heller, calm and methodical, asked, "At any point did you believe the driver posed a threat?" "No." "Then why did you reach toward your belt?" "Reflex, movement in my periphery. Rain distorted visibility." "Do you believe the driver intended to provoke a reaction?" Daniels hesitated. "I think he intended to document one." Heller paused. "There's a difference." Daniels looked at the camera lens. "Not on video." By that evening, the video crossed 1 million views. But Daniels hadn't watched it again. Not since realizing the pause wasn't what haunted him. It was what came after. When the interview ended, Rivera was waiting in the hall. "They're not after you," she said softly. "They're after the story." "Feels the same," Daniels replied. She handed him a photo, printed still frame from his bodycam. Rain blurring light. Tension mid-motion. "Keep it," she said. "Reminds you what they don't see." That night, the storm returned. Outside, streets glistened, city lights fractured through puddles. He scrolled his feed again. Same video, same arguments, different captions. Then something new appeared. A file that shouldn't exist. An anonymous account had uploaded the full stop. Uncut, clean audio. Both officers visible. For the first time, viewers saw everything. Rivera confirming dispatch, Daniels maintaining distance, Turner stepping out first. Comments flooded in. Some apologized. Others doubled down. Truth online wasn't a verdict, it was a vote. Turner saw it too. He waited 3 days, then posted again. He faced the camera. Calm, composed. "Context matters," he said. "But accountability matters more. Until every officer shares their full footage, citizens will keep filming." He didn't mention the part he left out. The video spread again. Different upload. Same story. In the department's conference room, Captain Laird reviewed analytics. "Public perceptions divided," he said. "We're not villains. We're not heroes. We're thumbnails." Rivera leaned forward. "Maybe that's what the badge means now. Being seen, even when it hurts." Daniels didn't respond. He kept his eyes on the paused frame, the rain, the blur, the question. He whispered. He knew what to ask. Rivera nodded, and when to ask it. Outside, thunder rolled, soft, distant, but closing in. Hours later, back home, Daniels sat alone. He'd stopped refreshing the comments. The numbers didn't matter anymore. Then his phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. "Officer Daniels, I have something you should see. The video isn't complete." Attached. A link. He didn't open it. He'd learned. Instead, he forwarded it to Rivera. Minutes later, she called. "You opened it." "No, I did. It's from a third car, a civilian dash cam." He straightened. "From across the street?" "Yes, it caught all 3 of you. Wide angle. What does it show?" Silence. Then, "It shows Turner stepping out before you reached for your belt." He wasn't reacting. He moved first. Daniels said nothing. The clock ticked once, twice. Rivera's tone was steady but cold. "IA doesn't have this yet. Whoever sent it knew exactly what they were doing." Daniels looked out the window. The city lights flickered like recording LEDs in the dark. He finally said, "Then it's not over." Rivera replied, "No, it's starting again." The rain began to fall, faint but rising. Somewhere, another upload prepared to go live, and in the faint reflection of his window, Daniels saw it. The red blink of a camera light. In the end, the footage didn't show right or wrong, only reflection staring back at itself. The night held its breath. Rain tapped against the glass like static on a dead channel. Officer Daniels sat in darkness, the only light coming from his laptop's glow. The message on his phone hadn't changed. The video isn't complete. He hadn't slept. Each second stretched, the city's hum outside blending with his pulse. He opened the laptop, not to watch but to check the file. The cursor blinked like a heartbeat. Every folder felt wrong, like someone had already been inside. Files appeared, vanished, then reappeared in the same order. He wasn't tracing data anymore. He was being traced. He shut the screen. The reflection caught his face in that faint red glow, one that shouldn't have been there. He turned toward the window. Nothing. Only rain sliding down glass like film melting off a reel. By dawn, the link had spread. News anchors repeated phrases like new angle, altered timeline, narrative collapse. Talk shows debated guilt and hesitation as if they were measurable. Each thumbnail used the same still. Daniel's eyes mid-blink, branded by pixels. Inside the precinct, the air was tighter. Conversation stopped when he entered. Phones flipped over, screens dimmed. Rivera found him by the evidence board. IA called another meeting, she said. They've seen the third camera. He nodded, jaw set. And they're not saying. But the captain's office is locked. That's new. Before he could answer, Captain Laird appeared in the hall. Daniels, inside, the tone was flat. Too calm. Laird's desk was covered in printed stills, grainy, soaked with color bleed from the rain. 3 figures. 3 truths. That's before you reached for your belt, Laird said. Pointing at one, Daniels nodded. And here, another frame, is Turner stepping forward first. So the first upload reversed sequence. Yes. Laird leaned back. We're sitting on proof. But proof doesn't matter if they don't see it first. Daniels met his eyes. Then release it. Not yet, Laird replied. We're investigating who leaked the first video. This new one complicates the chain. Complicates or clears. Laird looked at him. Depends on who uploads it first. Across town, Eli Turner watched the same footage. It arrived in his inbox at 3:12 a.m. No sender. No trace. Only a file named Truth, Final Move. He watched himself stepping forward, saw Daniels hesitate, saw restraint instead of rage. He leaned back, chest tight. He muted the audio, but the silence sounded louder. Truth wasn't heavy, it was slippery, and he was losing his grip. He hovered over a draft titled Correction. The cursor blinked once, twice. Then he closed the tab. Fame had gravity, and once you're in orbit, honesty pulls you down faster. Back at the department, Internal Affairs waited. Same room, same chair. Different kind of quiet agent Heller started recording. We've reviewed the new footage. It supports your account. Daniels said nothing. But it didn't come through official channels, Heller continued. Do you know who sent it? No, Heller studied him. Someone's playing both sides. You, Turner, the media. It's coordinated, Daniels frowned. Anonymous leaks happen every day. Not with this precision. Heller's phone buzzed mid-sentence. He looked down, frowned, then flipped it face down. The access trail points to a department device, he said. Rivera's credentials. 2:17 a.m. Daniels blinked once. That's not possible. She logged into the evidence server minutes before the upload. She wouldn't. Maybe not on purpose, Heller said. But until we know, both of you are suspended pending review. Daniels' voice dropped. She's being framed. Then prove it. Off the record. But if you're caught, I can't protect you. Outside, the station's floodlights flickered through mist. The city smelled like ozone and diesel. Daniels sat in his car, motionless, listening to the rhythmic tick of rain on the roof. He thought about Rivera, about Turner, about whoever was pulling the strings. He checked his mirrors twice. Nothing moved. But that didn't mean no one was there. He started the engine. By evening, Turner went live. He didn't show his face, only voice, only rain on loop behind him. I've received footage from a third source, he said. It raises a bigger question. Who's deciding what truth looks like? Comments erupted. Some demanded the new file. Others called it fake. The feed spiked past 500,000 views before he killed the stream. Outside his apartment, a car idled across the street, headlights off. He turned off the lights and watched its reflection in the TV screen. It stayed there for 5 minutes, then left. He didn't. Daniel showed up at Rivera's apartment after sunset. She opened the door, still in uniform, fatigue in every movement. "They suspended you too?" she asked. He nodded. "They think I leaked it," she said. "But I was home. I swear." "I know." The TV behind her was muted, showing the headline, "Third camera confirms contradiction." She rubbed her temples. "They're using this as proof of transparency." "But it's theater." He looked around. Curtains drawn. Locks double-checked. "You think it's internal?" she asked. "I think someone benefits from the chaos itself," he said. "Confusion creates control," she nodded. "Then we trace who's writing the story." They spread laptops, notes, and drive copies across her kitchen table. Timestamps, upload logs, server routes. Hours passed, thunder rolling outside like low static. Rivera froze mid-scroll. Found something. The original upload, the one before Turner's, had an embedded metadata tag. Pay, media, mock ops. Her breath caught. Public affairs. Media operations branch. Daniels leaned forward. "Our own department?" She nodded. "They posted it first, cut it down, then let Turner's version take the fall." "For optics," Daniels muttered. "Transparency theater." "They made us symbols," she said. "Then we stopped being silent props." Before either could move, metal clanged outside, loud, sharp. Rivera's eyes darted to the window. Daniel stepped into the hall, hand near his sidearm. Silence. Nothing there. When he returned, one of the printed stills had shifted on the table. They both stared. Neither touched it. Elsewhere, Turner's inbox pinged, a new video. Title, Sequence 4. Internal, he hit play. It showed a monitor inside the public affairs office. A hand dragging a slider, trimming the moment Daniels reached toward his belt. A voice off-screen said, "Make the pause hit before the hand moves." "It plays better that way." Turner's stomach dropped. He replayed it twice. They hadn't just framed a cop. They'd used him to sell credibility. He started recording again. "You wanted transparency?" he said. "Watch this." Back at the department, Daniel's phone buzzed. "Unknown number. They know you've seen it." "Watch your mirrors." He looked outside. Street empty, but a parked delivery van's side mirror reflected his apartment window, angled directly at him. He closed the blinds. Rivera unplugged her laptop. "We go dark," she said. He nodded. "Tonight." They drove out of the city to a shuttered storage unit. Old training ground, no cameras, no signal. Inside, they laid the printed stills across the hood of a patrol car. Rain dripped from the ceiling. 3 angles, Daniels said. "None tell the whole story." Rivera looked up. "Then what's missing?" He pointed at the still showing the office lights in the background. The internal security feed. Whoever edited the footage was on camera themselves. She caught on fast. "Server backup?" He nodded. Sublevel 3. They both knew it was restricted, and that the system purge would erase it within hours. Meanwhile, Turner's stream was live again. He showed the Sequence 4 clip, unedited, raw. "The department's media branch staged this," he said. "Every side of this story was managed, from what you saw to what you believed." The chat erupted. Half disbelief, half fury. He ended the stream. Within 10 minutes, the video vanished for policy violation, but thousands had already downloaded it. At that same moment, Daniel's phone vibrated. A new message. 432, server room, sublevel 3. Rivera leaned over his shoulder. "That's headquarters. Final copy's still there," he said. "We grab it before they wipe it. If we go in, it's over." He looked at her. "It already is." The storm returned, hammering the city in silver sheets. They parked behind the precinct, headlights off. Daniel's old ID still worked. Inside, the power hummed low. Maintenance mode. They moved through narrow corridors, flashlights dimmed. Rivera stopped at a door labeled Server Access Restricted. A red sensor blinked above it. She whispered, "They'll see us." "Then we make it worth watching." He swiped an old admin card. The lock clicked open. A chill of recycled air hit them. Rows of blinking drives lined the walls like a mechanical heartbeat. Daniels found the terminal. The final archive glowed on screen. He reached for the download command, then froze. The air conditioning stopped for a heartbeat. Total silence. In that stillness, a faint click echoed through the room. Not mechanical, not random, like a camera starting to record. They turned toward the sound. The monitor flickered. A message appeared. Playback enabled, and someone, somewhere, was already watching. The cursor blinked once. Then the screen filled with static. Daniel's reflection fractured across the pixels. Rivera leaned closer. "It's looping," she whispered. The footage playing on the monitor wasn't from the servers. It was them, standing in that exact room seconds ago. A perfect mirror. Daniel stepped forward, scanning the rack of drives. "They're live-streaming us. From where?" "Inside the system." He pulled the network panel loose. The cables pulsed with dim light, transferring data upward through the building's main trunk. Rivera watched the feed. Behind their mirrored images, another figure moved through the doorway. Slow, deliberate, unseen by them when it happened. Her breath caught. Daniels. "Rewind 10 seconds." He did. The shadow entered, paused by the rack, and left a small blinking drive on the lower shelf. They turned in unison. The same drive now sat exactly where the figure had placed it. No one else was in the room. The label read, "Chain File." Rivera plugged it into her laptop. A single directory appeared. Dozens of microclips, none longer than 2 seconds. Each snippet showed the same stop from a different lens. Dash cam, pole cam, surveillance across the street, even a smartphone angle from a pedestrian never listed in reports. Every clip carried the same timestamp. Daniels whispered, "Someone built a full composite." "Of every device within range," Rivera frowned. "That's not departmental tech." "No," he said. "That's infrastructure access, citywide." Before she could reply, the monitor shifted again. A text overlay appeared, transparency complete. Then the drives started erasing themselves. They yanked cables, killing power. Sparks flashed. The room dropped into emergency lighting, low red beams cutting through smoke. Rivera grabbed the still intact drive and bolted. Daniels followed, data chips rattling in his pocket. The alarms didn't trigger. Only a single, distant tone echoed through the corridors, a mechanical hum that didn't belong to the building's systems. They reached the rear stairwell. From somewhere above, heavy boots descended in sync. Not a chase, a sweep. Daniels motioned for silence. They ducked behind a maintenance panel as 2 figures passed. Plain clothes, no insignia, but earpieces glinting in the dark. Rivera whispered, "Not IA." He shook his head. "They're cleanup." Outside, rain fell in sheets again. They sprinted through puddles, past abandoned squad cars, into the night's low fog. The drive in Rivera's hand felt heavier with every step, like carrying the last heartbeat of the truth. They reached an underpass where Turner's Contact once met reporters. A single phone buzzed on the concrete barrier, screen cracked but still recording. The display showed one message. Upload node. 5th and Madison. 0230. Rivera exhaled. "It's 210. They ran. Across town, Eli Turner was already there. Rain plastered his hood to his face as he crouched beside an old utility box. He kept checking the street, breath sharp. A figure emerged from the shadows. It wasn't who he expected. Daniel stepped into the streetlight. Rivera behind him, soaked, silent. Turner's hand twitched toward his pocket recorder. "You came." "You started this," Daniel said evenly. "I exposed it." "You edited it," Rivera snapped. He looked away. And you think I had a choice? No one watches silence. Daniels tossed the drive toward him. Then give them something real. Turner caught it. The LED still blinked faintly. Alive. What's on it? The full chain, Daniels said. Every camera. Every edit. The truth they built. Thunder cracked above as Turner plugged the drive into his rig. Lines of code scrolled. The signal connected. Node live, he said. Once I push this, it's irreversible. Rivera asked, how long until they trace it? 30 seconds, maybe less, Daniels nodded. Then make them chase the truth for once. Turner hit upload. The screen flooded with mirrored feeds, the stop, the office edits, the unseen hand placing the drive. It stitched together like a living timeline. Too fast for human control, and at the end, another camera appeared. Not police, not Turner's. A fixed lens watching them right now from the underpass wall. Rivera turned slowly. A faint red light blinked above the concrete beam. Turner whispered, they're already recording this too. The feed hit 90%. Headlights appeared at the far end of the street, black SUVs cutting through the rain. Rivera pulled Daniels behind a support pillar. Turner yanked the cable, forcing the system to complete the upload offline. The SUVs stopped. Doors opened. Men stepped out, their flashlights off, movements coordinated. One shouted, drop the drives. Daniels whispered, keep uploading. Turner's fingers flew. 95%. 96. Rivera drew her badge, held it high in the beam of an oncoming flashlight. Officer Rivera, Metro PD. We're in the middle of an investigation. A voice interrupted through the dark. Not anymore. Then static filled their radios. The upload hit 100%. A tone chimed. The drive light went dark. Turner exhaled. It's out. Where? Rivera asked. Every mirror server worldwide. They can delete one copy, not all. Daniels nodded. Then we walk away before they make sure we never testify. But the SUVs advanced. They didn't shout again. They didn't need to. A sudden flood of bright light filled the underpass as a drone descended from the rain. Its camera locked onto them, lens whirring. Turner shouted over the noise, they'll spin this too. Daniels looked straight at the drone. Then we give them something they can't cut. He raised his hands, not in surrender, but in defiance. Rivera mirrored him. The drone's red light blinked faster, recording at maximum frame rate. Then, as quick as it came, it rose back into the clouds. Hours later, the video surfaced online. Title: Playback, Uncut. It showed the stop, the edits, the office manipulation, and the confrontation at the underpass, all stitched together by an unknown source. No channel claimed ownership. No watermark. No timestamp. The file spread faster than any official statement ever had. Within 12 hours, it appeared on national broadcasts. The department issued a statement calling it unauthorized. Public affairs went dark. Turner disappeared offline. Daniels sat in his car at dawn, engine off, radio muted. The sunrise turned the puddles gold, but it felt like stage lighting. False, too bright. Rivera called from the passenger seat. They'll come for us next. Maybe, he said. But this time the footage speaks first. She handed him a flash drive, one he hadn't seen before. What's that? The drone feed, she said. It sent a copy straight to my email before going dark. He stared at it. Why you? Maybe whoever's running this wants the story to keep moving. He took it. The label read, Next Case. Rivera started the car. Same question as before, she said quietly. Are we being detained? Daniels looked out the window. No, he said. We're being watched. The footage never stopped spreading. It became evidence, protest, and propaganda all at once. By the time the department released its official report, no one cared. The truth had already gone public, and no one could agree on what it meant. Some said Daniels vanished. Others claimed he joined a task force off record. What's certain is that weeks later, another anonymous upload appeared. Different city, different badge, same question hanging in the air. Am I being detained? And once again, the camera was already rolling.